Good morning, friends. I've been waiting on this day because I'm so excited. I'm spending the day in the kitchen, my favorite thing to do in the whole wide world. The only downside is I thought Mason was going to be here to enjoy all this. He just left probably about a half hour ago to go back to school because he has a baseball game today. It's an inter squad game, but he still has to be there. So I'm not going to be able to share all this deliciousness with Mason. So anyway, today on the menu, look, remember the bread? Okay, so here's the bread. It's resting. Since my Dutch oven is oblong, I'm doing an oblong shape here of bread. The cast iron, so my cast iron Dutch oven, sorry, I haven't had my coffee yet. I've been up off and on since 4:30 this morning, but I finally decided to get up about 7. And I've been prepping all this. So anyway, the Dutch oven is in the oven, preheating at 450 degrees. And you had to, once it hit temp, you had to let it set for another 30 minutes. Now, since she's a beautiful girl, I put water in her because I didn't want to put her in there without anything in it. I didn't know what it would do to my pan. So when it comes out, I'm going to drain that water, dry it up. And then I'll just lift this parchment paper and I will put that right in my Dutch oven, shut it up, and put it back in. Said 30 minutes with the lid on, and then take the lid off, and 7 to 10 minutes to brown up that bread. So we'll see that later. Right now, I'm getting ready to make some apple bread. Now, as you may or may not know, I don't like to use a bread pan. So I always use this little handy dandy 8x8 when I make banana pudding or any type of bread. So I'm making, what did I say? I'm making apple bread. Did I say apple bread? Because I don't even know. Should have had a coffee before I began. So here we go. Apple bread. Friend of my Aunt Carla, her friend Donna gave her some apples, and I wanted to use those. So I decided to make apple bread. So what we got here is we're going to, my handy dandy mixing bowl, we're going to add, it's 2/3 cup of white sugar, 1 stick of softened, Jake, stop, of unsalted butter. So I love using my little Pyrex bowls. These are actually fire clean. So you're going to cream that together. It said get out a stand mixer. I didn't want to get out a stand mixer. So I'm just going to do this by hand. Okay. To that we're going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I don't measure my vanilla. I use my heart. Jake's aggravating me, so I'm going to have to get him a dog treat. Hang on 1 second. This is real life, folks. This isn't a studio. I have children that want snacks. They haven't had their cereal this morning, so they're going to aggravate me. Okay, so there's the dog snacks. So we added that 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 2 eggs, 1. I should have whipped them up. I didn't. I never prepared, as you know. You know, this takes a lot of time to get all this stuff prepped up. But I do it for you because I hope you enjoy it. I enjoy it. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy talking. Y'all know that. Occasionally yell. Okay. So we got our 2 eggs in. We're going to mix that around. It smells wonderful. I wish you could smell my kitchen. My kitchen smells so good. I have my toaster oven going at 350 since I have this baby going for the bread. I cannot wait to smell all those delicious smells. I'm so glad you cannot see my kitchen because it's a mess. So I've got this little square cleaned up. Okay, so in here I have, I want to get my measurements right, 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and to that I've already added 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. So we're going to add that in. Now, by all means, if you want to use a bread pan, this is why I should have wore an apron. Use your your bread loaf pans. I don't know if it's because I'm impatient. I don't know what my deal is with bread pans. Maybe I'm just nonconformist. I don't know. It's just how I do it. I do my banana nut bread the same way. Okay, so we're gonna get this mixed in. Add the other rest of the flour. I bought this. I love this. It measures up to 4 cups. I bought that down, if you locals, JR, the Mennonite store, you know, you locals usually know where JR's is. If you're a local and you've never been, please go down to JR store. It's very interesting. I could spend hours in there looking at all the spices and all the different mixes. It's a cook's dream. Go early. Don't go on a Saturday unless you want to be there all day, because it's a tourist trap for those city slickers. So I also go down to, there's also an Amish store down the road from me on 138. I love going down there. The girls are really nice. They don't have as much as JR's. It's not as busy, and it's nice. They have all the spices. And they have some surprising things that you wouldn't think about. Okay, so there we go. There's that. And to this, we're going to add a half a cup of milk. I've never made bread with milk in it like this, but that's what the recipe calls for. So that's what we're going to do. I'm trying not to slop this all over me. I do have my pajamas on. And no, I haven't combed my hair. You know, that's a standard for me when I get up in the morning. I just get so excited about cooking. Why am I going to take a shower and do my hair? I've got to get in the kitchen and start working. Okay. I got time for fix myself up later. Maybe. Haven't decided. I'm almost done Christmas shopping. The nice thing about the kids being older is I can just give them cash, put it in their bank account, and say, do what you will. I know it's not as fun, but it's easier on old mom. And I do have some things, surprises for them. Okay, so looks like we're good and mixed up here. As you can see, it's really pretty battered. So here's the trick with this. Okay, so I'm gonna move all my stuff out of the way. I'm glad I have this nice big island. So what we're gonna do is, it's the same principle with the loaf pan. So you know, this little lip here is for pouring. So I'm gonna try to gauge about half of that batter. Half of the batter goes in. Let me move my bowl here. Half the batter goes in. We'll spread it around. Same principle with the loaf pan. You put half your batter in. Get it all spread in evenly. There we go. Normally I don't use unsalted butter, but just so happened I accidentally picked it up at the store by mistake. So I did have some unsalted butter. I typically use just salted for everything. Okay, so there's that. Then you're going to take half of your apples. So the recipe called for 1 large apple. I use, I don't know, one. I use 2. It's not that many apples here, and they're delicious. So you put in your apples, half the apples, because you know, why have apple bread if you can't taste the apples? Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Okay. I'm going to spread those around. Half the apples. And it said take a spoon and kind of push them into the batter. So we'll do that. Then, let me grab another spoon here. Then to this, so I have a mixture here, and it was a half a cup of packed brown sugar. See there? And it was, let me see, 1.5 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. So you're going to take half of this mixture. It smells so amazing. FYI, this is not low carb. sometimes you just have to have a treat. Don't eat like this every day. That's the key. Moderation. So there's that. Now you're going to come in and you're going to put in the second half of that batter. Just going to try to get it plopped everywhere so it's easier to spread out instead of in the middle, so we don't move around those apples and cinnamon. Dogs are really acting up today. So it looks like I have 5 minutes left on my Dutch oven. I pull it out, it's going to be extremely hot, so I'm going to have to watch myself because I really don't want to take a trip to the ER today. Okay, go. We're going to spread the other half of that batter around. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm going in the right order. Sorry. I want to see how they finished it off. They finished it off in the same manner. Okay, so there we go. The other half of that batter. The other half of my apples. Smells so good. I don't know what kind of apples these are. I forgot to ask. They're kind of tart, kind of sweet, like me. They're really good. Okay. Go. Push these into the batter. Wish I had somebody that would come and help me do the dishes. Oh, it's gonna be a thing. Okay, so later on today, Brock wanted, he's been hungry for spaghetti, but I make an amazing bolognese sauce. I've discovered the recipe, and it's so good. So I thought, why not take this opportunity to make bolognese? So that's what I'm going to do later, and I'll be back to show you that recipe. It is so delicious. It takes a little bit of time, but it's so worth it. Okay, there we go. And there you have it. Delicious. This is apple bread. I've turned it into an apple cake. 350 degrees. It said 50 minutes because it was in a loaf pan. So I'm going to check it in 20 and go from there. And then I'll let you know the time later. So there we go. We've got my bread resting, about to put in the oven. And I'm getting ready to put this apple cake / bread into the toaster oven. Next part later will be that bolognese sauce. All right, guys. Happy Sunday. Happy baking. Happy cooking.